I'm in Can't really express myself. Not really allowed to share my story. Suffice to say, people from my hometown are pretty much murdering me. That's my story. What can you really do, I guess? Nothing. Don't really know how I ended up like this. Last night they were saying they were in my throat. That they were cruel. These women's voices. And then these dudes' voices. And sometimes I felt spit on. And it sounded like someone in this room was breathing pretty heavily when I thought about how everyone in America seems poisoned and evil. But yeah, yesterday they told me that I was sterilized because it was through the Genes We Lost on the Way video. They always scream that in my hometown. Good thing you're cut and you're sterilized. And then they said, "Oh, you don't have an inner monologue. You don't really think." And then it was, "You're a serial killer." Just lie after lie on social media from my hometown, I'm pretty sure. I don't really know who this person. I mean, my first night here in Somalia, I saw some dude like shimmering at the foot of my bed, just kind of standing there. And then I just went to sleep. I just turned over in my bed. Because I don't really care about him. I figure, they poisoned me. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, what am I supposed to do? And just like keep a watch on my food all the time and like not eat and not drink and shit. Get dragged that way so I can breathe. I don't know. I mean, that's a possibility. I don't really know what's going on. Doesn't really make sense. I'm still alive. Eventually, I passed out, thinking America has all been like poisoned and not really sick. Felt kind of good, I'll be honest. You can't really trust anyone to help you. Most people just end up crazy and radicalized, screaming for my death and hating me. Everywhere I go, everyone ends up hating me, whispering shit to me, being cruel. Stop caring. Get the fuck out. That woman kept screaming in Atlanta. And constantly. Now I'm here in Somalia. I don't know. YouTube's like threatening my life. Law enforcement keeps popping up and death row in me. People just want me to die. Stop caring. I don't want to hurt anyone. Last night, the woman would say that I wasn't a man because I'm not violent, even though they're degrading and cruel. Guess that's my legacy. Someone they constantly try to radicalize, but who said, not gonna hurt anyone, just want to be alone. And then I said, well, let's get in his throat and constantly keep his company. Complains about schizophrenia, then we'll just say, it's true. And his drugs will make him feel worse. Life was really hell in my hometown. Every day was awful. Women screaming shit like, cut it off, and get the fuck out, and every day, and just constantly brainwashed as well. Evil. Not like I'm better here. I've been to doctors. I'm short of breath, and then they give you a chest x-ray and scream breathe and then tell you to fucking get out. I can't focus, I tell the psychiatrist, and he just ignores you. And whatever, I mean, pretty much the right reaction. Everyone's cruel. I'm dragged this way and that. No one really cares about me. No one really wants to hear my story or everything I've been through. Everyone's evil. Really doesn't matter. This dude is constantly spitting on me. And I don't really care. I feel droplets of water on my arm. And sometimes I'm like, maybe it's just raining. Then I figure that he's in my room spitting on me. And, I don't see anything. People tell me to like wear glasses. Can't really see. Maybe everyone else can see him and I can't. And everyone's just like, we'll never tell. Yesterday I just went on it. It's not about me, it's him. It's about him rant. And that felt pretty true. Leave me alone. Sometimes in America, I feel like my ear angling up like that, and I'd see this vision of like this dude like spitting on me. And those the last days. Sometimes it seems like it's like connected to someone who's really smart. I don't really want to think it's God. It's kind of false, I'm pretty sure. Why my left ear doesn't really make sense. guess it's just a permanent movement disorder because of the psychiatric drugs, because of the antipsychotic. Really, the only conclusion, if I had a good psychiatrist, just sit down and say, like, felt strangely hypnotized. Work through some of these delusions. But that'll never happen. I always hear voices, talk to the psychiatrist, and hear a voice say, "Get out." Is that the psychiatrist saying that? Is that something in my throat? Is that me saying "get out"? Where did that voice come from? I don't know. I like to have a good day. People tell me I'm fit, and I'm like, my heart is so faint. Stopped wearing my watch. Felt like the heart rate monitor wasn't really that accurate. But, like, yeah, it really is. In 2017, they told me, the neurologist told me to go to a cardiologist. I was like, my heart's fine. I had good insurance back then. I don't know. Voices in my ear saying he's a pimp. The "I'm dead" rumor. I like that in 2019. Coming back to Atlanta and hearing a voice say, "I'm now watching a man without a heart smoke a cigarette." And I'm now transporting a man without a heart in an Uber. It was funny. Yeah, I mean, I remember that. So the sequence of events is important. Let's see if I can honestly remember. This may be the same night he touched my hand. Is it? So let's see what happened. I mean, if I can, all right, maybe, yeah, that's the sequence of events. He touched my hand, and by he touched my hand, I mean the shimmering thing. And that was such a weird day. I remember pick a car, asking someone if I can get in their car. Him looking at me like I was crazy. I heard a voice say pick a car, and it was strange. And then I remember this lady like looking at me, staring at me, and she looked like someone from my law school, and she was like, "I don't know who that is," and she drove off. It was such a weird interaction. And then there's this guy who looked like one of my law school professors, and then I heard a voice say, "Never mention Emory." And then I walked across this bridge, and I like choked myself, and I jumped up into the air. I felt released, and then I had no idea where I was. I just like didn't know where I was at all. I crossed this bridge, and I was like, where am I? Like, is this like a different country? This was California. And then this lady gave me food after I crossed back into town. I heard a voice say, "He took food from from a woman, a mourning mother, not a dying woman, a mourning mother." And I ate some cake or whatever. I went, calm down, man. It doesn't matter if it's like not me telling the story. This is true. This is what happened to me. Might as well make a record of it, considering that YouTube is saying you're gonna die. I don't have a lot of space on my phone, so I better hurry up here, I guess. What happened next? There's a TV in like some restaurant. The vision on the ground of them pulling my skin back on my face. The shimmering dude who I thought was my soul. And I moved up to him, and then he touched my hand. And Lana's just like, "It's not him. Fuck Atlanta. I mean, this is true. This is what happened. These are my memories. I've shared them constantly, and people know my story." And then he touched my hand. I screamed. I ran around. The police came. But to get to the point that I don't often remember this part of it, but like I walked to the 7-Eleven, and then I saw the graffiti on the ground that was like changing and stuff. It was amazing. There are all these like puppeteers. Like you go up one level and there's another puppeteer, and then that's when I saw this image of this kid on a computer who was like part of an army. And then I went to, and then I was blinking a lot and walking around, and I was seeing things. I heard some woman say, "Step into me," and that was weird. And then I heard this voice say, like, "I'm your mom," and it was this middle-aged white woman, and it was weird. She sounded like a Karen, but it was that weird neighborhood. So anyway, I went to, this isn't, these were people in that neighborhood talking to me. They told me that the graffiti took a year to make. This was somewhere outside of LA. I walked to some train tracks, and then I heard someone pitching their voice to the train, scream, "Get on your knees and beg," because they really thought that like they were gonna give me a heart attack. That's the way I interpreted it, and I was just like, I feel fine. I really did. I felt fine, but I got on my knees, and I was just like, "Fuck you. It doesn't really matter." I was up. This was like 3 a.m. And then I got up. I walked down the street, and then I lay on my back, and I completely just like relaxed. And I was just like this, but like lying on my back, and relaxing my neck as much as I can. And then I started like twitching. Sometimes the way I interpret that is a Lazarus sign, just a reflex, like my leg would kick out or something. And I actually felt as if there was someone standing above me, doing something to my heart, and it was really scary. I just closed my eyes. Um, but I was talking at the same time as it was happening, and um, I was like narrating like a surgery, and it was really weird. And then I got up, um, and I just felt so strange, like no air at all. I felt like I was just in a bubble, and like I just wasn't breathing. And I was just walking around. Um, and it was strange. I found some food on the ground. I ate it. Um, I saw some. So I was still awake before I mean, I found food on the ground in the morning. Um, I was walking around. I wasn't really breathing. I felt like I was in like this new level. Seriously. But like I felt fine. Um, my heart was like I just didn't really feel it beating, and that was the first time that I felt like that, and I didn't really feel like I was breathing. Um, and this is somewhere outside of LA. Uh, and then I like was like, I'll lie down. So I lie down outside this like store, I guess, and some car goes by. Um, I open my eyes and then I look at the fence next to the store, and I'm just staring, and I'm not blinking. Um, and like the what's it called? The uh, the tree suddenly just looks like an alien, and I'm just staring at it, and I'm like, wow, this is literally like an alien behind a fence. And then I see this someone sitting in a chair, and they're being like, he's shaking, and he's in front of the alien, and he's being covered in this like glittering substance. And then the alien said, "You will never disappear to me." And it was sad. But the guy who was being covered in a glittering substance, I mean, it was the same thing that I see like floating in the air. And it was the same thing that was covering the guy who touched my hand. So, yeah, that was a weird night. And then I just kind of got up and like walked away. Um, in the morning, I found some food. Um, someone bought me a donut downtown. Uh, and then some guy was like hanging out outside a home, and I was just kind of like standing there staring at him. And then he was like, "I'll show you my true face," and he made this really ugly face, and it was funny. um, I sat outside some mechanics for a while. Someone gave me some McDonald's. It's pretty well fed there. um, and then I heard like it sounded like someone shot a gun in the air, and I started running around in fear. I just started following my body. It wasn't like, no. It was more like, okay, it's probably best to cross the street now. And it wasn't really like running. But yeah, I just kind of walked around that neighborhood for a while. Ended ended up walking on the highway, feeling the sun shining on my hair and feeling like a special person. That was the same time I saw like what I thought were people, invisible people, standing on a bridge throwing smoke bombs onto the highway. And then the police picked me up on the highway. And I heard a voice say in the car, "That's not us." And then they dropped me off in East LA. Um, and then I saw that graffiti um, on the wall outside a mobile gas station that like changes shape. And it was of like someone operating on someone's heart, who was lying on the ground. And then underneath it said Seer 1. And it's that graffiti that changes shape that's really hard to see. But it's not like, normal graffiti. But that seemed to be a reference to my experience the night before. Um, that's what I felt. And then my eyes started shutting. I sat down outside. I got some ice cream. I don't really know how I got money. But yeah, I got some ice cream. The person was like, "So, cruelty." The 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 cashier was talking to the person in front of me in line, and I heard her say, "So cruel again today." And yeah, it was kind of sad. I got a burrito too. I don't really remember how I got money for these things, but I didn't have any money, but I got food. I got a lot of food. And then I walked, and this is about the same. Yeah, that's the sequence of events. I was awake the entire time. I didn't sleep for days, and then I slept. I ended up walking. Someone hit me in my thigh. I heard a voice scream, "Someone just shot you with a hypothermic needle or something." I kept walking. I ended up in front of a Staples. I went to sleep. I just passed out. And then when I woke up in the morning, um, I just walked down the street again. My face was really puffy. I thought I saw Albert.